Hello and welcome to the video. We're looking at the manufactory today, and specifically we're looking at munitions for artillery, mortars and range siege, aka Lego. That is a very popular attack style, and I'm sure that there's many people out there watching this video that are using it, and therefore I thought it would be a good idea to share with you which munitions are the best and sort of my rationale behind which ones to use and why. So let's get straight into it. Here's my composition for Lego. Let's go through each of the troops I use, which munitions I'm using, why I'm using them, and why I think they are the best ones to use. So let's get straight into it. We've got my Captain's Combat Engineer here. Let's just take a minute to appreciate how badass this guy looks. Shout out to BHG for making this guy look like a total badass with that sort of skeletal mask on. Anyway, I digress. What are we using? We are using the adaptive camouflage because, and this is like a must-have for this guy, at level 10 it gives you 10 seconds where essentially this troop cannot be targeted by towers or anything, and that just means that he's going to successfully get to a wall and blow it up. Without this, an anti-tank gun could quite easily one-shot this guy, meaning he's not going to get the job done and that wall is not going to get broken. So adaptive camouflage is a must-have. And then the second one that I'm using here is obstruction transmitter, just because it gives the extra damage, which means you're pretty much guaranteed to blow the wall up first time, as opposed to using field kit, which does not give any extra damage. So obstruction transmitter, camouflage, those are the two that I'm using on this guy. Moving on, let's have a look at the artillery, and on the artillery a must-have is the HAV rangefinder, because it gives you that +1 range at level 10, which is a must-have, meaning it's going to have, well, a greater distance to shoot buildings from, so that is a must-have, as well as obviously giving all the extra perks of the damage, movement speed and hit points there. And then the second one that I am using not BDAR tools, not obstruction transmitter. No, I am using communications relay, and the reason behind that and my rationale is because this grants attack speed, and attack speed is, well, it's sort of like a unique stat to get. You can't get it from the museum. You can only really get it from your munitions. Of course you get it from coalitions and drones, but to significantly increase that attack speed, then your munitions are the best way to do that, which is why I've gone with communications relay, because attack speed means that essentially your artillery are going to be firing like rapid machine guns that have just chugged a massive Red Bull. So this is my choice for that, for all the reasons I have explained. Now, moving on, and maybe contradictory or controversially to what I've just said, actually on my mortars, I am not running communications relay, I am running the obstruction transmitter, but let's get into my thinkings behind this. So I have got the field kit, which is, I believe, and commonly accepted as like a must-have on the mortars, because it gives that increased healing, meaning they're going to survive for longer when you're attacking those defensive bases, and they're going to get increased healing from supply vehicles or like BHMs, for example. But like I said, critically, this gives an increased 11% attack speed, which is amazing for your mortars. They're going to be firing like rapid machine guns. But I haven't gone with the communications relay. Now, why have I not done that, you ask? Well, the obstruction transmitter and the field kit together give a 28% increase in damage and 11% increase in attack speed. The communications relay and the field kit only gives 14% increase in damage, but does give a 17% increase in attack speed. So essentially, by going obstruction transmitter, I'm sacrificing 6% attack speed for an extra 14% damage, which when I first sort of made my munitions for my mortars, that seemed like the best deal for me. However, there are many players out there, better players than me, for example, that I know do use field kit and communications relay, because that attack speed, as I said earlier on, is a unique stat to have, and boosting that as much as possible is very, very strong. So open for discussion on that one. Please comment below what you are using. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me if you think I'm right. But personally, I go with obstruction transmitter and the field kit. Now, let's assign that back. What have I done there? I'm not really sure. There we go. So, that's Mortars. Probably the most sort of like controversial one to explain there. Moving on then, I've got my attack helicopters, and you might be thinking, what? This is Lego. This is mortars, range siege, and artillery. Why have you got attack helicopters? Well, I will tell you why I've got 2 attack helicopters in there. That is because attack helicopters, as I'm sure many of you know, suppress enemy troops. And by having just 2 of these guys in your army for Lego means that any defenders coming towards your main army are going to be suppressed, meaning they're going to do less damage against your army, meaning your army can survive for just that little bit longer in the initial sort of phases of the battle. So having 2 of these guys, really important, I believe, for Lego. What am I running on them? I'm running the HAV rangefinder for that extra range, and we are also running HTE rounds for the extra damage, attack speed, and all the good stuff that we can see here. So attack helicopters in Lego, yes, totally recommended for all the reasons I've just stated. Moving on, we've got our APCs. What are we running on APCs? Well, you need to have, without a shadow of a doubt, rapid deployment radio. That's going to mean that your units are going to spawn with Protect. It's going to give you increased spawn speed, and at level 10, give you an extra 2 troops for your deployment. So definitely need that on the APC. And then, again, controversially, I've got obstruction transmitter on there. Whoa. Obstruction, where's he gone? There he is. Obstruction transmitter, just because it takes less damage when it's moving. That's the APC. It has increased move speed, meaning it's going to sort of keep up, and it gives you more hit points and damage on the APC, meaning it's going to survive for longer. I do know many people that use composite lining, which gives more hit points. However, I've gone with that. I mean, I don't think there's really too much in it. I think the extra damage is probably better to have on that. So, that's my APC. We can't talk about APCs without talking about heavy infantry. Now, of course, heavy infantry aren't necessarily going to be in your army lineup, but the troops that spawn from your APC, well, those guys are heavy infantry, so you need munitions on them as well. What have we gone for? Well, a must-have is the explosive rounds, meaning that your heavy infantry are going to do splash damage, meaning they're going to have more damage, faster attack speed, more hit points. All that good stuff means those guys are going to be just blowing the shit out of everything as they come out of the APCs. And then, rather than obstruction transmitter, again, I've gone for field kit, because I'm thinking these guys spawning with Protect with increased healing means they're just going to survive that little bit longer and be a better meat shield for the rest of my army. So that's what I'm running on my heavy infantry. Lastly then, let's just look at what I've got in my airstrip. It's fairly straightforward. Captain's Recon. We've got the composite lining and the DRFM jammer for the extra hit points and damage, and less damage taken from air defences. And then on my transports, we've got the exact same thing. The composite lining and the DRFM jammer. What a mouthful. So that's what we're running on the airstrip troops. That, I think, is everything I need to cover in terms of munitions for Lego. Hopefully you found that useful. Please, if you did, like the video. If you want to see more of my content, then you know what to do. Press the subscribe button. I do post on the regular. I love making content for Dominations, and by subscribing, that just really helps motivate me and inspire me to always keep making more. So, thank you for watching. As always, I will see you in the next one. Peace out.